Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jaisy, and today I have a really special video. I want to talk to you guys about some useful things that you can think about when you're planning your vote for this coming fall. As I'm sure you know, this is going to be a very important election, and it's more important than ever that we all exercise our right to vote. I think it's 4 important areas that you should have covered, questions you should have answered when you're planning your vote. First and most obvious, how do you plan to vote? With this, you're going to think about what options you have in your state. Can you vote by mail, or do you have to go in person? The second thing you want to think about is, what are the deadlines? If you're not registered to vote, find out when you have to be registered by in your state, or if you do have the option to vote by mail, you want to make sure that you know the deadline to request that. And in most cases, if you are voting by mail, then you can actually request that online, which makes it a little bit faster. Third, you want to think about any obstacles or unexpected events that might make it difficult for you to cast your vote. I would say, as a good rule of thumb, I would think of at least 5 different scenarios that could possibly happen. Even if they're very unlikely, I think it's always best to just plan ahead and have backup plans. And the fourth thing you want to have is any contact numbers or email addresses for any local officials or organizations that you would want to get in contact with if you run into any trouble trying to cast your vote. Now I want to take you guys along as I plan my vote so that you guys can get inspiration and get busy planning your vote. Number 1, how do I plan on voting? So I live in Illinois, where you have 3 options to vote. You can vote in person on election day, just like regular. You can also do early voting, where you go and vote in person, but just earlier than the election, so you can beat the crowds, not have to stand around too many people, especially since it's a pandemic happening right now. And you can also mail in your vote in Illinois, so that's the option that I have chosen as my first choice. I've actually already requested a mail-in ballot online, so I'm waiting to receive that, which I think it said that they won't start mailing those out until September. So whatever it is, I have that date written down so that I know when to look for it, and I know when to sound the alarm if I haven't received it by a certain time. Okay, so number 1 I have covered. Number 2, what are the deadlines? Well, I'm actually covered on those 2 fronts too, because 1, I am already registered to vote. I have also already requested my mail-in ballot, but I will still tell you guys the deadlines for Illinois, at least in case there's any other fellow Illinoisans watching this video. So the deadline to register online to vote is Sunday, October 18th. The deadline to register by mail is to have your request postmarked by Tuesday, October 6th. And the deadline to register in person is Tuesday, November 3rd. And if you want to request a mail-in ballot, you have to get that in by October 29th. All right, so we're moving fast. 1 and 2 covered. Number 3, possible obstacles and backup plans. So I said that we should think of at least 5 of them. Thankfully, I've never experienced any type of voter suppression or unexpected events like that, so I'm very thankful for that. But in this election, I think it's important that we all just prepare for the worst. And if you over-prepare, that's much better than being underprepared, right? My first possible scenario that I've thought of is, what if my mail-in ballot doesn't arrive at all or arrives very late? So the solution that I can think of for that right now is to set a deadline date for myself, where if I haven't received my mail-in ballot in the mail by that point, then that's going to be a red flag for me to call my election office or whatever officials deal with it to let them know and see what my options are. A question I have about that is, even though I've already requested a mail-in ballot, would I be able to change my mind and just go and vote in person? That's actually a question that I don't know the answer to. So what I'm going to do is call the election office to try to get an answer to that. I found a number. I don't know if this is the right department, but I've just done a little bit of Googling to find a number to call and find out if I would be able to change my mind and vote in person, even though I've already requested a mail-in ballot. So let's find out.
Welcome to the DuPage County Clerk's Election Division. Para información en español, oprima dos. If you are voting by mail, please note, your vote by mail ballot must be postmarked no later than Election Day. If you prefer, you may personally drop off your voted ballot at the DuPage County Clerk Election Division Office. Drop boxes are located at our front entrance and in the parking lot. You may also use drop boxes located inside all DuPage County early voting sites and polling places. For information on early voting or vote by mail, press 3. Further assistance. That was not a valid entry. If you need further assistance, press 0 or remain on the line for... DuPage County Election Division, this is Mary. How can I help you?
Hi, my name is Jaisy, and I had a quick question. If I have already requested a mail-in ballot, would I be able to change my mind and vote in person? Or if I've requested it, am I locked in to vote that way?
You're not locked in, but some things would happen. It would show, our files would show that we sent one to you. With early voting, they would have to, look that up. They'd have to be able to clear. We have to see that the ballot was not returned. Then if it wasn't, then they could clear it at early voting. If you show up on Election Day, and you said, I don't have it, I destroyed it, or whatever, you would have to fill out paperwork called provisional. So we would show we mailed a ballot to you, but we want to guarantee that we don't get something back and you try to vote at the polling place. So you would vote on a paper ballot that goes in an envelope that comes back to us, and we verify we didn't get the ballot mailed back to us from you.
Okay.
If you surrender the ballot, if you get the ballot and surrender it on Election Day, then you are eligible to vote, just without doing the extra paperwork, but you have to surrender it to the judges.
Okay, perfect. And when are mail-in ballots going to be mailed out?
On the end of September. September 24th is the first scheduled date with the huge volume going out, the first part, and tell people that, the first week of October is when you should expect to receive it by then. You can call us. You should be able to do some tracking of it, too, at that point. The other thing, too, that's come up in many, many phone calls is that there will be a drop box right on our campus, outside, one inside by our security guards to drop it off. You could bring it to an early voting location, or you could bring your vote by mail ballot to your polling place on Election Day and just hand that to them, and they would deliver it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. You've been so helpful.
Many options. It's a new thing for a lot of people, but yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much again.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so as you guys can see, I live in an awesome county. They were very forthcoming with lots of details so that I have no lingering questions about how to vote. So that's one unexpected scenario that I've covered. I have a backup plan. I know what my options are. Let's think of 4 more unexpected scenarios. What if there's really long lines if I decided to go and vote in person instead of using my mail-in ballot? Well, I think the backup plan for that is to have one of those fold up chairs in the trunk of my car, so that if I need to, I can have a chair and I can sit there and wait. If it's a matter of clearing it with your job, you go on like your break to vote in person, then I would just talk with whoever your manager or supervisor is, make sure that they understand that if there's a long line, I'm gonna stay in that line, and I don't want that to be a problem. My third obstacle would also be related to if I decided to vote in person instead of using my mail-in ballot, and that could be, what if the voting machines malfunction and I get turned away? So again, I don't see this happening here, but if you watch the news, you would know that this has happened to some people. So it's something that it is a concern. And in this case, if this happened to me, you could call your election official, like that number that I just called. I would give them a call to know, like, what would be my options? Like, can I go to a different place to vote? Can I go to a different location? Or what would be the options? And another thing that I would do in that scenario, which this is going to kind of bleed into number 4 in terms of having contact information, I would have any numbers or emails to election officials or election offices so that I could call right on the spot and ask them. I would also have the numbers to any news stations if it comes to that. At the very least, if your vote is being obstructed, at the very least, expose the people that are trying to stop you from voting. A 4th scenario that could happen, what if there is crazy weather that makes me want to stay home? For that, I would say if you can, vote early. Don't wait until election day. If you have the option to vote early or mail-in ballot, I would say that's my first line of defense in terms of if something like that happens, so that you're not waiting on in case something like that happens. Otherwise, if there's crazy weather, I would just bring an umbrella. I would look at the forecast and make sure if it's going to be really cold, make sure that I have anything to make myself stay warm, but I'm staying in that line to vote. Since we're in a pandemic right now, a 5th scenario could be, what if people are not social distancing and I feel unsafe or uncomfortable? And I think in that case, you just have to start working on yourself right now. You have to have the courage to ask people to just give you some space. And on top of that, just bring as much protective gear as you can. If you can, find one of the KN95 masks. They're a little bit pricey, but I think it's worth it if you know that you're going to be in a scenario that's going to be pretty high risk. Those are the 5 unexpected scenarios that I can think of. If you need some help thinking of things that could possibly happen or obstacles you should prepare for, I would literally just turn to Google and put in voter suppression, put in the year 2016, put in the election years, voter suppression, election year, and then just click the news tab and just look at different news stories, and you can see things that have actually happened and get an idea of what you would do if it happened to you. Okay, and the last step, I've already started to touch on this. Look up and research the numbers of your election offices. Also, look up and research the numbers to newsrooms for your local news stations. And to add on to this category is to make sure that you have your phone or something that you could take video with, because if your vote, God forbid, is suppressed in any way, at the very least, document what's happening to you so that you can expose who or what entity is trying to block your vote. So make sure, if you have a phone and you like to take a lot of pictures and videos, just make sure you have some space cleared out where you could take a 30-minute video if you needed to, so that you can at the very least document if your vote is being suppressed. All right, you guys, so that's all I have for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that I provided some useful information, and I would be more than happy to help anyone with building their voting plan. At this point, my channel is small enough where I can genuinely say, if you guys want to email me, I would love to help you. Even if you are a complete stranger, I'm more than willing to help you create your voting plan or to look up any numbers that would help you to get acquainted with your local officials or a newsroom. I'm going to leave my email address in the description box. I'll probably also, I think I'm probably gonna put it on the screen here that you guys can email. And yeah, happy voting. See you in the next video. Bye.